Assalamu alaikum, I am Zainab Haider Rizvi and I wish you Eid Mubarak on the birth anniversary of Our Lady Bibi Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha and a very happy International Hijab Day. In honor of Lady Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha and Hijab Day, today we are going to discuss the philosophy behind hijab. So let's define hijab first. In Islam, hijab means modesty in terms of ikhlaq, which means the way that you carry yourself, you speak to other people, and the way that you conduct yourself, paired with modesty in terms of one's clothing. The religion of Islam has made hijab compulsory for both men and women. Today, in the light of the teachings of Bibi Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha, we are going to be discussing the hijab of the women. My dear viewers, in order to understand the philosophy behind hijab, it is important that we first discuss what a progressive and functional society looks like, because the philosophy of hijab basically revolves around society building, around community building and the progression of a society. My dear viewers, a progressive society is that society in which men and women actively work as equal counterparts in order to take that society towards progress. A society which is patriarchic in its beliefs and abuses the essence of hijab in order to keep women from actively taking part in the affairs of the community is a dysfunctional society. And likewise, on the other end of the spectrum, a society that brings women to the streets, removing their clothes and objectifying them, is also a dysfunctional society. And Lady Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha teaches us what an ideal progressive society looks like through hijab. So without further ado, let's discuss the philosophy of hijab and understand how. The philosophy of hijab basically has three pillars. Let's discuss them one by one. So the first pillar is that hijab gives men and women a status of equality. In today's world, this ideology is being infiltrated into the community by the Western media, that the removal of a woman's clothes grants her liberty, when in reality, dear sisters, the removal of a woman's clothes actually simply does nothing more than objectify her as an object of pleasure for men. So this idea that's being promoted that the removal of the clothing of a woman actually provides her liberty is false, because it does nothing more than objectify her, when on the other hand, covering oneself and observing hijab is what gives a woman equal status in the society, as it raises the woman above all sorts of objectification and presents her as this thinking individual, this intellectual and visionary human being whose vision and whose intellect deserves to be valued, as opposed to just an object that is open for everybody to derive pleasure from. The second purpose of hijab is to protect the faithful and godly men of the society. My dear sisters, Allah tells us in the Holy Quran that good women are those who do not put believing men in the position of falling into sin. Now this might be a bit controversial, but stick with me and you would find that it is not, inshallah. My dear sisters, when we present this argument, when we possess this thinking that, a man falling into sin, that's his problem, that's not our problem. Why should we change the way that we dress for a man who's going to fall into sin? That's his problem. He should be guarding his heart. He should be protecting himself. He should be, but honestly, think about that for a moment. This is the most selfish and most inhumane thing that we could say about our Muslim brothers. In Islam, a society only progresses if both men and women work as equal counterparts, if both men and women take care of each other. And if we're not going to take care of our Muslim brothers, then who is? That is something to think about. So the third and final purpose of hijab is to protect the Muslim women of the society. My dear viewers, you would find that in the past 2 decades, when modesty has been kind of pushed to the side openly and publicly, and this public large-scale commercialization of a woman's body started to take place, the rate of psychological issues and mental health problems in young and adolescent girls has basically skyrocketed. Through the commercialization of a woman's body, the media is setting unattainable body standards, which is causing a lot of adolescent girls depression and anxiety and body dysmorphia and eating disorders and it is also leading to suicide. And all of this can be prevented by a hijab, by a community that observes hijab. And this is not something to be taken lightly, especially because it is so destructive and it is causing so many deaths in young girls. And like I said in the beginning, the purpose of hijab is community building and society building. And a society can only flourish if all members of the society take care of each other. It is incumbent upon us, dear viewers, to take care of each other, to take care of our community members. I hope that this video helped you understand the philosophy of hijab a little bit better. Take care of yourselves, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.